Hey everyone, welcome to another video. My name is Ian, I'm Ian the Reader, and today I have another book tag because they're fun and I like it, so leave me alone about it. The worst part is I'm probably gonna have another book tag done like next week too, so be prepared for that. But anyway, today I'm gonna be doing the end of year book tag, which I'm a little bit late on, but not too much. It's one of those things where I always forget that this whole book tag is intended to be like for the last like quarter of the year. When I think end of the year, I think November and December. So in my brain, I was like, it's now time. But in actuality, it was time like 3 weeks ago. But the thing with that is, if everywhere else in the US, maybe it's autumn, but in Texas, it is not autumn. Autumn is like a nice, beautiful 2-week period somewhere like mid-late November, and we have not reached that yet, so I'm still on time. But anyway, let's go ahead and jump into the questions. Question number 1 is, are there any books that you started this year that you need to finish? Yes. Okay, so there are some books that I started this year that I have absolutely no intention of finishing because they were not for me. But there's one book that I'm ashamed that I have not finished because of 2 things. 1, it is super hyped and I love this author. And 2, it was actually like a group buddy read that my family and I were doing. I'm a part of like a book club with my family, and every quarter we read a book together, and I did not read our quarterly book because I just couldn't for some reason. And that book is Malice by John Gwynne. I know, it's really shocking. And the thing is, like, I think that I'm going to love this book. I think I'm going to love this series, but at the time I was like really into Realm of the Elderling by Robin Hobb, so I was like overwhelmed with other fantasy. And then on top of that, I was trying to listen to the audiobook for this, which with this book, there are so many different characters, there are so many different perspectives that it's one of those, I feel like it really deserves to be physically read because I think I'm gonna get more out of the experience of that. So I hope to pick this up before the end of the year because I really want to. I loved The Shadow of the Gods when I read it earlier this year, but I don't think that I can listen to it. But I really wanna finish it. I really wanna finish it, so pretend I'm crossing my fingers. I crossed my fingers, I did it. Question number 2 is, do you have an autumnal book to transition into the end of the year? Yes. And I'm vlogging my experience reading them. If you somehow don't know, because I mentioned it in a lot of videos, I'm doing an October reading challenge of reading 6 vampire books and ranking them and the vampires in them. For some reason, I really don't know what made me do this, but I'm 5 books in now, and it's definitely been an interesting experience, and it's transitioned me into the fall spirit because there's some spookiness, there's some like autumn weather for sure in the books, and yeah, it's just moving me in that autumnal direction. In addition to that, I'm also planning on picking up The Last House on Needless Street, and something about it just gives me autumnal vibes, so yeah, there's that one too. Question number 3 is there a new release that you're still waiting for? So yes and no. So actually, yes. I would say Jade Legacy because it hasn't come out yet, but I've already read it. So Jade Legacy, November 30th, don't miss it. But then in addition to that, Brandon Sanderson is releasing the 3rd book in his Skyward series called Cytonic. I wasn't the biggest fan of book 2, but I'm still really excited about book 3. And then a book that just came out that I'm really excited about and already have a copy of is The Lincoln Highway. I'm really excited about that one. I hope to get to that one this year. So yeah, there are those. Question number 4 is, what are 3 books that you want to read before the end of the year? Ooh, 3? I'm like, now that I'm on booktube, I feel like I'm being pretty planful about everything I want to read, to the point that I have a note on my phone that's like November TBR, December TBR, and I'm already working on like my January TBR. So yeah, there's a lot of books that I want to read, but I think if I had to pick 3 books that I really want to read before the end of the year, Empire in Black and Gold by Adrian Tchaikovsky, Assassin's Fate by Robin Hobb. It's the last book in the Realm of the Elderling. I've read like 15 other books in that series this year, so if I somehow get to 2022 without finishing this series, I will be very disappointed in myself. And thirdly, Ninth House by Leigh Bardugo, because I've somehow added it to like 15 TBRs, even though I've only done 10 because we're only in the 10th month of the year. I have to read this book. Question number 5 is there a book you think could still shock you and become your favorite book of the year? Yeah, so my favorite book of the year right now is Jade Legacy, and it is amazing. But I don't know necessarily it would be a shock. I think I expect the last Realm of the Elderling book to become my favorite just because I care about these characters so much, and it's the end of such a journey with 15 books before it. So I think Assassin's Fate, the last book in the Realm of the Elderling, could be my favorite. But one that could surprise me maybe is The Grapes of Wrath by John Steinbeck. And again, I don't necessarily know that it would surprise me because East of Eden by John Steinbeck was my favorite book that I read in 2020. So possibly. I'm planning on picking up this book because at the beginning of the year on my Instagram, I made a post about five-star predictions that I had, and it is the last one that I have left for 2020. And I want to do some for 2021, but I'm not going to until I finish that collection. So yeah, I think it could either be The Grapes of Wrath or Assassin's Fate, and if neither of those, then Jade Legacy is going to be my favorite book of the year. No surprise there. And the last question, because apparently this is a short tag, is have you already started making reading plans for next year? Yes. Okay, so I do and I don't have goals, but I do have plans. So in years past, I've set number goals for myself. From 2015 to 2020, really I did, and sometimes I would meet that goal, sometimes I wouldn't, and sometimes the goal would be super ambitious and sometimes it wouldn't be. But I've noticed with myself that if I set number goals, then I'm going to read books that I don't really care about. For example, back in 2020, it was December 1st and I hadn't met my reading goal yet, and so I read like 25 books that month, but they were a bunch of short ones and a lot of ones that I didn't care about, and I found myself listening to audiobooks on like 3 speed just to try to get through them, and my quality of reading really faltered. And so for 2021, I decided not to set a number goal for myself, which has been really nice and like low-key, low stress, but in addition to that, I've just been reading stuff that I want to read, and ironically, it's my best reading year yet so far. I've read like 89 books and I still have 2 months left. So, no number goals for 2022. Oh my gosh, 2022. But I do have reading plans for the year. For example, I have some buddy reads I definitely want to do. In January, I'm planning on reading House of Earth and Blood with my aunt and some friends of mine and probably my wife. I'd like to read Green Rider Book 1 with Josephina from Fina Reads. I know she's hosting a read-along coming up in January, and I just picked that book up, so I'd like to read that. I know Andrew from Andrew's Wizardly Reads is planning on reading Illborn by Daniel Jackson in March, I think, and I think I'd like to read that then as well if I don't pick it up before then. And then just a few other buddy reads that I'm planning on doing in the first half of the year. And then in addition to that, I've really enjoyed doing this vampire reading vlog, and so I have plans for other reading vlogs coming up in the near future. I'm gonna do ones like reading booktubers books, like books written by booktubers, because there's quite a few fantasy ones of those. I'm planning on doing like reading old favorites again, seeing if I still like them vlogs, and just different things like that. I had a good time with that, so going to do more. But other than that, not a lot. What about you guys? Do you have reading plans? Do you have reading goals for 2022? Because I hope I'm not alone and like already setting out my TBRs like that, because I feel like that's the only way that I know I'm gonna get books read is if like I plan months in ahead what I'm reading. So like I said, I already have November's TBR planned, December's TBRs planned, and January. And then some that like kind of pour over into multiple months, because fantasy books are freaking long, man. And sometimes it takes me a couple months. I'm kind of a slow reader actually, like physically, and I find with fantasy books that I get the most out of them if I read them physically, so yeah, we'll see what happens. But anyway, that is the end of the year book tag. I cannot believe that 2021 is almost over, but at the same time, I'm excited for all the things coming in 2022. Hopefully with this channel and just in life. I'm very excited, so. But that is it for this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. I had a lot of fun with this tag, as I always do. If you want to tag me in some tags, please do, because I would love to do more. And then in addition to that, just leave a comment down below telling me what your plans are for reading the rest of the year. And if you've already started thinking about next year, I would love to hear from you guys. Like, comment, subscribe, hit that notification bell, all that fun stuff. I post videos every Tuesday and Friday, and sometimes on extra days because I want to. And yeah, I really appreciate you guys watching this video. Don't be a stranger, and I'll see you next time. Bye.